Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garibaldi Red podcast, a Nottingham Forest podcast on a Sunday morning as Forest sack Ange Postecoglou yesterday, which was pretty quickly after the Chelsea defeat, which saw Forest concede another 3 goals at the City grounds, and we all went home very disappointed. But I think what sums up the last 39 days is not, it's just a complete error of an appointment, wasn't it? And we can all agree that it maybe didn't work out and it wasn't going to work out. And Ange leaves Forest the shortest reign, one of the shortest reigns in Premier League history, and certainly the shortest reign of Forest history. Although, was it Alex McLeish had 40 days, wasn't it? So there you go. Postecoglou had 39. We will talk about the aftermath, what happens next, Mancini being linked, Sean Dyche being talked about as well, and Marco Silva, and whether Forest are going to pay this release clause. And all of this is what happens when Forest sack a manager. I mean, we've talked about on this podcast so many times Forest sacking managers now. I feel like we've, it becomes a story of the podcast. And, this season, they're already on to their 3rd manager in, October. So it's been a pretty poor start of what we all agree should have been a really positive season, playing European football for the first time in 30 years. Joined by 2 people who join me often, and we'll know hopefully what the majority of the fan base is thinking. First of all, Sarah. Sarah, I talked to you yesterday. I was doing some interviews for Sleep where we were talking about Ange and maybe Sean Dyche, and we kind of had a bit of a chat off camera. And I just guess what you made of the sacking, what you made of yesterday, and the fallout that happens now.
Well, it was inevitable, wasn't it, yesterday? I didn't think we were going to beat Chelsea anyway. I mean, I thought we played okay first half. I thought it was quite positive. But this just didn't feel like the right appointment from the very beginning. I mentioned last night on 606 that I didn't really understand why Tottenham employed him, and I didn't see him for us at all. And Chris Sutton almost like lambasted me, saying, "What, you think you're too good? Are you too big-headed?" No, but why should we accept that just because he's won a trophy at Tottenham and he plays this, attacking football or Ange ball, whatever, he's the right fit for us? Because he's not. He wasn't the right fit for us, and the fan base, made that quite clear. And regardless of that, we ended up with him, and we kind of. It's a real sad story, really, that it's ended like this, because none of us wanted this. But, I didn't really like the feeling that was coming across on one of the, the Midtjylland. Dave mentioned it earlier to us that, the Midtjylland game, that was awful. But yesterday, I thought the crowd was much, much better in places. Certainly around me, we were more positive.
I agree.
It's just...
I think that.
Just horrible, isn't it? I mean, at the moment we look like relegation. So
yeah, well, I think and I think that's the worrying thing. Like, I was sat next to my mum yesterday, and she looked at the BBC Sport app at the full time and she was like mortified. She was like, I didn't realise we were in the relegation zone, and what are we now? 2 points adrift. And the worrying thing for me, and everyone says, oh well, newly promoted teams always start well, they'll drop off at kind of Christmas. Sunderland are a good side. Leeds are not a bad side, and Burnley look half decent too. Sunderland, out of all those 3, remind me a little bit of the season that we stayed up. They'll have their negative moments and disappointments at Christmas when all the players go off for AFCON and whatnot, and they'll probably lose a few, and when they get injuries, which happens to every football club. But I think that's the worrying thing for me, is that those teams are massively picking up points.
But we're like Leicester, aren't we? Too good to go down.
Which is my worry, perhaps. And here's one for you. The last time, I think I can't remember the stat, but it's something like 1 in 6 every time a manager in the every time a team in the Premier League has changed managers 3 times, they've got relegated. It's never a great stat. Dave, Sarah mentions about it being inevitable, and this Ange Postecoglou, I'm going to call it a bit of a circus, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Ange. I actually wish him the best. But he will go down in Forest history. He's not won a game. The fans never connected. He never talked about the city of Nottingham in his press conference. He never tried to have that connection to the fan base. And the majority of the fans I was chatting to yesterday doing these interviews were saying, we want it to work out for him, Max. We want it to turn round. But the problem is, we don't feel connected with him. Nuno and Steve Cooper made a real effort to connect with the fan base. And I don't know about you, but from the start, it felt like a doomed appointment.
Well, the owner didn't read the room. Let's be honest. When his name was touted, I don't know of anybody who said, "Oh, it'd be great to get Ange Postecoglou as the manager of Nottingham Forest." If you'd done like a poll, say you'd like given every Nottingham Forest supporter a vote, Ange Postecoglou, yes or no, I think you'd have had sort of 98, 99%. No, we don't want this guy. But the owner went ahead and did it anyway. So the disconnect is between the fan base and the owner. It's like last year, Leicester City appointed Steve Cooper. They didn't want him. But the ownership at Leicester City went ahead and did it. And it caused untold ill feeling. So my view is that, you know, Ange has had a lot of flack, and he hasn't helped himself with some of the statements he's made. But I get the feeling at the moment around Nottingham Forest, none of us are helping with some of the statements that we're making. I've been really uncomfortable since the phrase, "in the end, we always win," came out, because that is what is being pinned on the wall of every opposition. Maresca will have said it yesterday. Eddie Howe would have said it last week. This is what Nottingham Forest believe. In the end, we always win. You make big statements like that, you come a cropper. Morgan, a couple of weeks ago, "when we click, we'll be unstoppable." Don't say things like that, man. That reeks of entitlement. Ange this week, the monologue about stuff. All he had to do was say who was fit, who wasn't. Oh, the lad's in good fettle for the Chelsea game. But he went off on one. And so many people at our club are going off on one. Nuno kind of went off on one. You know, the Edu thing. We're Nottingham Forest. We're not at the level of the Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, you name it. We're not at that level. We're in the level with Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth, you know, trying to properly establish yourself as a Premier League team, because we haven't been up that long. You know, you need a global director of football. My view is, ever since the Edu appointment was made, which to me was utter arrogance and utter folly. You know, if you're going to bring Edu in, bring him in under the cover of darkness and let him get on with his work in the background. The smaller clubs around us, the Bournemouths, the Brentfords, the Brightons, the Fulhams, the Palaces, whatever, they're not like making big statements. They're not doing this, "hey, look at us." And then they're getting on with the job of winning football matches. I watched the Palace-Bournemouth game yesterday. It was a classic. Brilliant football. Remember, Bournemouth have replaced their entire back five and actually seem to have got better. Whereas we've regressed. I almost feel we've abandoned the moral high ground. Nobody likes us anymore, right? For those years when we came up, people were really pleased and happy to see Nottingham Forest back in the Premier League. Now we're becoming a bit of a pariah. And I've sat there, you know, in the City ground recently, and I felt really uncomfortable. And I know, you know, and the thing is as well, Max, you know, you can blame Ange all you like, but Mr. Marinakis has to take some blame. Edu has to take some blame. Ange copped it. I mean, as soon as Ange picked Taiwo yesterday, much as I love Taiwo, I'm kind of thinking, that's not going to endear him to anybody, right? And Taiwo ran around and tried his damnedest like he always does in a first half, which I thought was really positive. Like Sarah said, there was some good football there. In fact, for all that it's been a really poor period, the best football I've seen any football team play for a long, long time was that half an hour in the first half in base. The Forest were phenomenal.
And the fans were singing Pentecostal's name in that half.
You know, we were giving the team who are currently fourth in the La Liga and unbeaten, we humiliated him for half an hour, you know. So, but the thing is, it's just like I want us to kind of be not talked about. I want us to kind of slip into the background and just get on with our football and get back to. That's how we created a brilliant season last year. My view is that Nuno has to take some blame as well, because my view is that it was falling away at the end of last season. That identity that we had that was so clear and lucid to everybody, we got worked out. So if Nuno was still here, he'd have to be finding a different way to play. So my view is that it isn't one person. You know, I've always believed, having done some coaching in the past, teams and institutions, businesses, clubs, whatever, you either stand together or you fall together. And I think at the moment we're all culpable. I really do.
Yeah, it's a good point, Dave. And it's funny you mentioned about sitting in your seat at the City ground and almost feeling a bit. And I felt it yesterday, and felt it more at probably the Michelin game, but also yesterday. I felt
sorry, Max,
very disconnected,
sorry to interrupt,
Dave.
Do you know, I felt everybody walked into the City ground yesterday There was no hubbub around the ground before the game. It's almost like we were defeated before we started. And it's almost like everybody sat there, and as it, after that first half, and then you kind of think we've had a good first half, but we haven't converted our chances. Chelsea score early in the second, it's game over. And that's exactly how it was. And then from goals 1, 2 to 3, most people were just sat leaning back on the seats. It was just resigned. Yeah, well, this is exactly as we expected it to go. And actually, in many ways, that was more deflating than the anger, really.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the players were a bit like that as well, because like towards the end, Milenkovic had a real good chance of a header, and he just went, and it went wide. There was no kind of like, there didn't seem to be much fight there. It was almost like they were resound as well, weren't they?
Don't agree with that. I thought our lads tried hard yesterday. I looked at Nico Williams' face every time I don't think our lads. I don't think they're not trying. I don't mean
in the game. I just mean towards the end. I think the fans were trying, and the fans kind of went resound to it. And at that point, I'm talking like 5 minutes to go. I think the players then. I think they almost went, because I don't think we were resound to a loss. Even at 2-0, we were like thinking, if we'd have got that one back from Nico, I think we'd have been in for a fight at 2-1, because it might have shown some nerves. But I mean, when Neko came, is it what's his name from Chelsea? When he came on at half time, he just ran us ragged. It was just like a different team, wasn't it? We were playing. So
they're a level above us. They're a level.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
A long way above us. They are They're a giant club. We're a big club. They're a giant club.
And that wasn't one of the games we were expecting to win. Unfortunately, it's the Sunderland, it's those kind of games that if we'd have won that, we'd have been, and under Nuno, if we'd have won the West Ham, we wouldn't have probably been, feeling so, it wouldn't have been so, the feelings wouldn't have been so bad yesterday losing to Chelsea. But it's unfortunately the bits that in the middle, isn't it? Midtjylland, it's that Midtjylland and that Sunderland that's made us feel so.
I think the players as well. I think the players don't look the same from when Nuno left, and they look like they've been trying, but I think the footballers that are paid an incredible amount of money, and you'd expect them to try, and I do think they have, and I think they were unlucky. I look at the Jesus chance, and we talked about it off air before we just started coming on here live, and Dave said if it wasn't going to go in that day, it wasn't going to go in at all. And that kind of summed up the 39 days that Forest have had with Postecoglou. Yeah. And also to your point, Dave, about sitting in your seat at the City Ground, I feel totally the same. I sat there yesterday. I've been sat in that same seat now for I used to see you, Sarah, when we were down at the City. I was about 12, 13 years old. I've sat in that exact seat in the Peter Taylor stand, in the main stand. There seems to be a real disconnect between the players and the fans, which probably doesn't help given the results. There was a disconnect between the manager. There feels like there's a growing disconnect now between the owner and the fans. And kind of the best one for me is that there just seems to be some really, and I'm talking about off the pitch here, and we'll obviously get back onto the pitch in a minute. I kind of want to get this off my chest. I feel like off the pitch, there's some real issues at the club in terms of like the City grounds changed for me, and I appreciate you guys might not have seen it, but the Trent End, people getting moved for hospitality, the silly corner boxes that are now £100 to get hospitality. Why on earth they were put up in the first place? Just fill the blooming corner and get more fans in, rather than have
the whole block behind me got moved last season. The whole block for hospitality.
Absolutely, and you've got like this silly box that Marinakis sits in that he had a special lift put in for. Ridiculous. You've got stewards telling you that you can't go through the players' car park because it's the players' car park. Well, for 13 years that I've been going, no one's ever started or done anything in that players' car park. We're not a bad fan base. The majority of us aren't going to go and start smashing up the coach or giving Ange or Nuno stick unless you're just an idiot that doesn't come to Forest half the time. So for me, it's like, why are the club trying to disconnect themselves from the fan base? And there'll be plenty of people that watch this podcast that work at the football club, and we all know they do. There's some really silly things they've done recently to make the disconnect more off the pitch. I'm talking about here, from the fans to the club. And if they just made a few better decisions, and I'm talking about the pricing of tickets as well.
I was going to say £60 to go and see.
60 quid. It's a joke.
£500 for two of us. It's cost us for 4 games. 500 quid.
We're in a cost of living crisis in the world.
don't charge 60. And people go, oh, well, Villa charge 60. Well, yeah, but we're not Villa. We're not Man United. Clubs in Betis charge how much, Dave, was your ticket to go away in Seville?
£17.30.
There we
20
go.
euros.
Do you know what I mean? Why don't Forest look at that pricing structure? They've got to sort that out, because the disconnect will become bigger. And if we have a few more bad results, it won't be the manager that they start turning on. It'll be the club, and that's a dangerous place to get into. Rant over.
On that, Max, there's when does laudable, understandable ambition tip over into debilitating entitlement? That is my issue. I love that we're ambitious. Mr. Marinakis has taken us 1,000,000 miles in 10 minutes, effectively, from the bottom of the Championship. I've just been watching the EFL highlights, watching Derby lose at Oxford. 4 years ago, we were celebrating like mad, 1 point at Pride Park. So, where we've come from to where we are now, and we're having a blip and we're having a bit of a trough, but there have been some mighty peaks between then and now. My worry is in trying to flesh out this ambition that we've got to want to be this, perpetually successful, perpetually overachieving team. We're losing the very essence of Nottingham Forest, which when we were a great side, a truly great side in the 70s, and then a very good side sort of throughout most of the 80s, we were always still that provincial club, about the city of Nottingham, not a massive city, but a good, proud city, punching above its weight and showing the world that it had character and it had, some kind of presence. I think sometimes we're beginning to forget exactly what we are. The great story of the European Cup wins, one of the most astonishing achievements, landmarks in football anywhere in the universe, was the fact that it was a provincial club like Nottingham Forest. And the word provincial, it's not to demean Nottingham Forest, it was almost to say, look at what this club has done over and above what you would imagine it would do. We did it last year. We overachieved for our relative size and status, and it was wonderful. And we basked in that sort of punching above its weight. Now we seem to have tipped too far the other way. And you look at the likes of, Bournemouth. Bournemouth could have gone top yesterday. Little Bournemouth. Yeah. We're playing a bowling green, for goodness sake. Their capacities. I love Bournemouth to bits, and I've got loads of mates down there. And I'll probably get some stick next week.
I hate that club.
They haven't got what we've got in terms of infrastructure and stuff, but they find a way to punch their weight. We need to kind of get back to doing that. And I just think, it's like you talk about the list of possibles for the manager's job now. I looked at the list and I thought, they'll not want any of them, really. I saw Forest Focus a couple of weeks ago. Matt Davies put a list up of potential candidates, and they asked his panel, what do you think of them? And the panel were like, nah. So, it's just, I wish we could just get, we've begun to lack humility, and we need to get some humility back. We need to say, and we need to help our lads. Because like Sarah said yesterday towards the end, and it's such a difficult human emotion to keep at bay, demoralisation set in. I think they tried really hard yesterday, our lads. I don't think any of them, the only game in which I thought they downed tools was the West Ham game. And I was really angry with Nuno that day because I thought he played politics with my ticket that day. Are you going to put Douglas Luiz on? No, because he's Edu's man and I didn't want him, so I won't put him on. And I was really angry with Nuno that day. I don't normally get angry with Forest people because my view is support means encouragement, means assistance, means help. It doesn't mean destroying the thing you love, right? So I thought the West Ham game, I came out of that and I was like, what, Nuno, what are you doing with my money and my love and my emotion, right? Since then, I don't think, at Newcastle for an hour, they were competitive. Elliot Anderson at Newcastle, and Elliot Anderson, let's be honest, is the best midfielder in the country at the moment. He's just been the man of the match in the last 3 England internationals, which England have played really well in. He's likely to go to the World Cup. He's playing in a club team that's struggling, and he's still playing some fantastic football. Nico Williams. There's lots to be positive about. There's lots
There
of
is.
good things in there.
There
But
is,
we just need. Colin Frey said it yesterday, as Colin often does. We need somebody to unify the place.
Yeah, I agree. I heard that as well. And I thought it was spot on. And I think that's now where the next managerial appointment has to go. We'll get onto it in a minute. Just read some comments out because we are live on YouTube and Facebook. This one from Luke. The way he always talked about, I'm guessing you're on about Postecoglou, the way he always talked about himself was his way of deflecting negative attention from the players. If we had ever gotten a win, he would have talked about the players and the fans. I don't think so, Luke. I think managers use the media. He could have talked about the fans a little bit to try and unify us. Alex says, CBA to talk about Ange anymore. Silva is the smartest option. Dyche is the safest. I think we all are. Mancini is the highest risk, but has the potential to be our Emery. That's not a bad way of looking at it. Yeah, Emery had a bit of a. There was a bit of
a good comment.
A few frowns about him when he came into Villa.
CBA.
I
love that.
I think we're all a bit CBA on your Sunday morning, aren't we? Talking about Forest.
Can't beat Asprey.
Yes, of course. There's a few comments about Olorena as well missing him, and we're missing him.
We do miss him.
I do think we miss him. I think probably dressing room atmosphere is big.
Funny,
but it's only one player. They you know what I mean. I can't say the last 8 games being in defeat has been down to missing Olorena. I can't think it's that.
I don't think they're arguing amongst themselves. I don't think there are factions in the dressing room where one group is sat over there. I don't think that. They strike me as a really good bunch of lads who all like each other's company, right? And me being me, because I'm an old fart, I kind of look at him and think, oh, I want to go put my arm around Nico. I want to go put my arm around Elliot. I want to go say, well, battle big man. You know, Moo was back yesterday. You know, I don't think it's that. They just feel a bit jaded, and they need a tonic from somewhere.
And I think if Ange Postecoglou was going to save his job, it would have been the players that would have saved it for him. But he obviously didn't have that, and that's my worry. And I said that after the Michelin game. I got a bit of abuse, but it did look like they didn't believe in what he was doing at the Michelin game, and that's what I worried about. And I said, has he not lost the dressing room, but has he not got the players buying into this? I don't know. And yesterday, I think if the players said they went up to the boardroom and they would do, but if the players had been going, no, what he's doing is great, I don't think, would he have gone?
I think he was gone before
when he came.
Yeah, I think
before he started.
I'm not saying this for definite, but I think from listening to other people and hearing a few things, I think that Ange was told that Chelsea game, if you win, you keep your job, which is crazy when you think about it. If you lose, pack up your bag and walk out and get in the car park before you're doing any media interviews. And that's what Colin Frey said in the tunnel yesterday.
The feeling was that the players were all behind him and united with him, would he have got the sack? That's what I'm saying is, do you sack a manager that's got the players united and playing? And normally when they are united, you're seeing something else. And this is what Dave's saying, and I agree with, is I actually don't care what the football is like as long as we're playing. I mean, I don't want it obviously to be horrendous football, but normally
as long as we're winning games, yeah. As long as we're scoring.
You're winning games. It might be winning ugly, but then the attractiveness can come later. We watched that Brentford game, Nuno's first game in charge this season, and that's the team I thought I was going to see this season, but I didn't expect them not to be. They were still fair, solid defensively. I mean, 3 set pieces yesterday, 10 set pieces in his time since he's come to the club, Postecoglou, that we've conceded. And what was it yesterday? I read 60 chances on goal and 1 converted in the Premier League. Yeah. And that could just be bad luck, Dave. That could just be bad luck. But it just something just didn't feel right.
The number of chances, right? I've looked at that. Right, against Sunderland, 22, against Betis, 16. They're probably
half chances.
Yeah, what I would say about our lads, probably until the third goal went in yesterday, I could not accuse our lads of just being passive and not putting a shift in, right? Because all I would say about the Michelin game, we got too built up. I worried before the Midtjylland game. This is, all those lights, all those like flipping gas burners on the pitch, all that nonsense, that American stuff. And I kind of thought, if this goes wrong, we're going to look very silly.
Like that,
and it
Dave.
went right. I hated it. It's not. I'm an old fart, I guess.
But that's what your 60 quid went for, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Why you were
and I
60
thought,
quid.
and the Midtjylland game as well, as it unfolded, that was chaos. Our lads looked like they'd invited Midtjylland down to the park for a kickabout, jumpers for goalposts, because there was no structure to it. It was chaotic. What really angered me about Midtjylland was I'd read an article on the BBC Sport website 2 days before that game in which it was very, very clearly stated that Midtjylland are the best set-piece team in Europe. Did nobody get that memo? Because as soon as Midtjylland got a free kick, and Phil Billing was in the vicinity. I mean, as Max's dad said yesterday, we're never going to beat anything that's got Phil Billing in it, right?
No.
It was like, has nobody done their homework? Has Nikola Milenkovic not read that article? Has Moo not read that article?
Isn't that the manager's job? Isn't that the manager's job to set?
I think it's everybody. I think it's everybody's job. It comes back to this idea that, if I've sat in the Trent End and I've read it, if I'd have gone in our dressing room like, lads, these are red hot set pieces. You need to be on it for a set piece, right? So Midtjylland was back. The other thought I had yesterday, I was put in mind yesterday of 92, 93. Pinstripes on the shirt. We win the first game at home and we got relegated. I remember that year we had pinstripes on the shirt. Sheringham scored the winner against Liverpool first game of the season, and then it all went to rats. And there's a lot of similarity at the moment. But there's 30 games.
Yeah. There's a long way left.
And better to be having it. If we were having this crisis in April, boy, we'd probably be gone and it would be all over. There's 30 games. And I read an article this morning where somebody, a writer I respect, was saying the level of this squad, if it can be properly brought together and properly organised, I think it's no disrespect to some of the other teams, but I think we've got a squad that should be at least halfway up in the league in terms of the personnel. I mean, Amari Hutchins should be given a run at some point. James McAtee needs to be brought in.
Well, he can't play on Thursday, and he wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah, Yeah. So I mean,
no Backwell, no McAtee, no Calamuende. I mean, are they injured? I don't know. He's not even mentioned them.
And like Jai Cunha at Newcastle, I thought was really good.
Yeah, and then he's not playing.
So do you know what I think with managers these days? They're all like frightened of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They feel like they have to tinker and tamper with it. Look, I'm doing something, everybody. The best managers it's good. It don't need fixing. Just keep it that consistency, right? And I think human beings want consistency a lot of the time. We like our routines. We like it's set up. Last year, we had a lovely, consistent routine to everything we did. That now the lads are like, well, we're on to our third manager. Training's going to change again. All this business of styles of football, and all this business. My view last year, we had a style which actually revolutionised the game for a while, because it was like, we want to play football without the ball, which worked quite well. But then it got rumbled. Right, you have to go and find something else now. I think there's too much talk about it as a science, and I just think, basically this new manager, whoever it's going to be, hopefully, I'd like to think before Thursday night, and that's going to be monumentally tough.
Who do you want, Dave? Who do you want out of the kind of, like Mancini, Deitch, Marco Silva? I think this criticism of Deitch is a little unfair, but you know what I mean. I think he'd make us a very stable side. I don't think but again, that you're talking about, that's not ego, but narrative that Forest are bigger than maybe where we are. Sean Deitch, I think, fits us quite nicely.
Would he want to come at the moment?
I think so. Yeah,
I think he would. Yeah, but
Alan Shearer said last night. Gabby Logan asked him the question. She went, "Would anybody want to work for an owner as mercurial as that?" And Shearer went, "Oh yeah, there'll be a big queue outside that door. It's a big football club with a great tradition, with an excellent squad. Yeah, a good squad. So I think there's a lot to work with. Who do I want? I want Iraola. Let's go. This is really naughty. Let's break the bank. let's get a gang of lads in a van, drive him down to Bournemouth, find out where Iraola lives, bundle him in the back of the van, bring him up to Nottingham and say, sorry, mate, you're going to manage Nottingham Forest. And in doing so, we're going to break the Bournemouth curse. This will probably come back on me next week, right? Because I do love Bournemouth, right? I want Iraola. That's who I wanted. I think the long term, it'll be Marco Silva. I think it could well be Daichi, because I think he's living in a rented room just around the corner from the City Ground waiting. He's there with his stove and his sofa and he's reading his newspaper, waiting for the call. It could be him. Mancini kind of came out of nowhere last night. I mean, the answer to your question is, Max, I haven't really got a strong preference. All I would worry with what I got from people around me yesterday was that they want Deitch, because Deitch, everybody wants that attractive football. Then yesterday we were saying we need to be more solid at the back. Well, they might
want Deitch for the short term, don't they? I feel
the other thing about Deitch, Sarah, is that he has a connection with Nottingham Forest.
Absolutely, and his assistant managers do.
Yeah, but then again, Martin O'Neill had a connection with Nottingham Forest and he quickly destroyed it. So these things don't always work. I just want. I don't really care who does. I haven't got a strong.
I just want to win a bloody game of football. That's what
I
want.
I want Iraola.
He's not going to come, though, is he? He isn't going to come.
He won't come.
He's going to go for a really big job next job. It's going to be a big one.
He's so happy where he is. He was running the line at his daughter's football match in Bournemouth last week. What a brilliant thing that is. What a fantastic piece of PR that is, right? He won't leave there. He's happy. He won't. I don't think he'd want to come and work here with us, right? Because we're a bit of a basket case at the moment. So I think it's I tell you what, my mate yesterday, Gary Marriott, made a good point. He said, the money that we've got from Ross Wilson going to Newcastle, can we not reinvest that by using it to pay the release clause of Marco Silva? Because I think
So do you think Marco Silva then?
I think I wouldn't.
I think he's done a good job at Fulham. I wasn't impressed with him at Everton.
No.
I wasn't impressed with him when he was at Everton. And he was one of those managers that the media loved. And every time there was a vacancy, they said Marco Silva's a great manager. And he didn't do very well at Everton. I think Hull went down. I know he tried to keep them up and they went down. And he was at Watford for a short period and he did okay. He's done really well at Fulham. So yeah, I would like Marco Silva, but I don't think any manager comes as a cert that they're going to be able to sort us out straight away. And whoever does come has got to be given some time. And this, literally, I would like to see a manager come that is given proper time. And if that means that it's going to be absolutely disastrous if we went down, but we could be dicing with death with whoever, and we have to stick with them. So this appointment is so important because we can't just make a point and then say 10 games, he hasn't won a game. But if he hasn't won a game, but we're seeing the platform for good where we're going. Yeah. Or we're defensive, or but we're getting somewhere. Then we have to stick with them. It's not it is about results. It's a results game. But with the last games of Postecoglou, there was nothing to grasp hold of, was there? But nothing's guaranteed.
And that's where people will go mad about Deitch. But if I look at the three candidates of, let's say, Mancini, Deitch, and Silva, who do I think's best equipped to keep I'm being deadly serious now, to keep this Forest side in the Premier League? Deitch. I do worry that Silva's a little. I like. Don't get me wrong. It's an ambitious appointment. Okay, Fulham fans will be like, "Oh, why is he leaving Fulham?" I don't think he's happy there. No disrespect to Fulham. It's Fulham. They're never going to go anywhere. I don't think they've got the best fan base. Fair play if you're a Fulham fan, but Forest are a bigger club, right? And I think that Silva's worked with Marinakis in the past. He was the only manager that left on good terms at Olympiacos. I'm 99.9% sure. So I think it will be Silva if they can get him. But my worry is that you're almost rolling
another dice.
Dice and dice. But
you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice with whoever you get.
You are.
You might end up rolling the Deitch, right? But sorry about that. But the thing is, none of them, like Sarah said, right, not one of these candidates is bomb-proof, right? And like, Marco Silva, I think he was Watford's longest serving manager. He was there 18 minutes, I think. So, well, we're a sacking club. Watford are pathetic, aren't they? Really,
but that's where we're going. 3 managers in 1.5 months. Is Watford kind of?
Yeah, but the thing is, Bournemouth stuck with Iraola through a longer period of fallow period than this. Brian Clough, 1 win in his first 13. Right,
Forest stuck with Steve Cooper, in fairness, and it turned out, after that poor start, Forest, and there was a lot of call. I did a podcast, I can remember, with Guy Moussi, and me and him both said that we don't think Nuno was the right man to take Forest forward, and that was at the end of the season.
I didn't see a problem with Nuno because I saw what he did at Wolves and thought, I didn't have a problem with Nuno. Honestly, I didn't really understand why people didn't, but that's probably my lack of knowledge of football. But I didn't see a problem with Nuno. I thought he was solid. He did well at Wolves, and he'd done well wherever he went.
I can't really. I have a defence mechanism, which means I don't get excited by any of these appointments because either I get let down or I get
exactly
whatever. So my view is when Nuno came in, I went, basically, I've got no control over it, so I can't worry about it. I get done unto.
And it's not our decision, is it? Clearly, it's not us going to make that decision.
So, I mean, if it was me,
I've heard Dave Asprey's in the boardroom. I've heard Dave Asprey's in the boardroom open them out this afternoon. He's going through the candidates.
Yeah, I would love. Wouldn't it be great to go to Dean Court next week? This vitality nonsense. It's Dean Court with Andoni Iraola as our manager. That'd be great. That.
Well, Dave.
My stronger feeling is that it'll be Sean. And Dyche's, whatever you say about what we can't do.
Didn't he get Bournemouth finished 7th one year?
Burnley, yeah.
Burnley. I mean,
it was 7th.
And he kept.
That's European that's what got us into Europe last year. So why are we all slating him? I don't. I mean, I think I'd feel safe if we appointed him, and I think probably Mancini to me is more of a gamble, and then Silva is more. Maybe he is for the long term. But I certainly don't think Dyche sees himself as a short-term manager, and he'll make sure that contract has been written as it's not a short-term contract, and that's what he did at Everton. I mean, his payoff was huge, I think, all the way through. That's why they let him run it down.
Yeah. So it's not going to cost us anything. And I'll tell you who the team I was likening us to yesterday when I was watching the match was Everton this time last year, and Everton a couple of seasons before that. And Dyche kept them up. They were worse than us, far worse than us.
Yeah, awful points.
They lost 6 points, and he absolutely it was unbelievable. But it turns toxic, doesn't it, with Dyche after a bit, because the fans are like, this isn't what we want.
Does it turn toxic? Does it turn toxic? Because with all due respect, you've got Burnley fans who had probably got sick of him because he'd been there forever. And you've got Everton fans, and every Everton fan you ever come across in life, and I mean this in the nicest way, Everton fans think they should be competing for champions. Everton fans think that new stadium are always going to win them the league and beat Liverpool every season.
We're like that, aren't we now? We're like that, aren't we? Champions League next year, Europe again. Me and Mick are going to every away game we can and home game because we're saying we probably won't be in Europe again.
You just fancy some extra sun, Sarah.
Well, I'm not going to get any in Graz, am I? And I'm not going to get any in Amsterdam in December.
It'll be a bit cold, yeah.
So
the thing is, if Dyche comes in, right, you're faced with this dilemma. You might have I would rather have gritty, horrible 1-0 wins than spectacular 4-3 defeats. And for all the Everton fans who moan, it was like watching paint dry. It kept you in the Premier League with a poor side that had 6 points taken off it, or however many, 10 points, whatever. Right. And he kept them up. And I think he's an extremely intelligent guy with a good personality. I think
we're a better side than Everton.
We are a better side than Everton. We're a better squad than Everton. Than Everton were. I think Everton are much improved this year.
Yeah, they are.
But I think, Dyche's got that sort of personality. Could hey, come on, lads. Let's roll the sleeves up and get stuck in.
And I think that's what they need. And they need that. They need the arm around the shoulder, don't they? That's what we need more so than what football are we playing on the pitch at the moment. We need somebody to galvanise us. Whether is that Silva, Mancini, or Dyche, I don't know, or is it somebody else? But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care how much that manager costs to get them in, because it's going to cost a hell of a lot more to the owner if we go down.
Yeah.
And to the club. So to me, it's irrelevant. 8 million, 9 million, it's irrelevant. I can't even understand why he's looking at who's free and who's not. You've got to get the right man in, and it's regardless. And that manager is more important than your £100 million player on the pitch.
I've just seen this. Go on, Dave.
Marinakis won't want to lose his constant sort of appearances on Sky Sports, will it? If we were a championship side, he wouldn't be featured. So, an ego that
well,
big.
I mean, at the moment, I'm looking at Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White and the rest of them and Murillo thinking, why would they want to be here yesterday? That's what I was thinking, which was very worrying for me, because I'm like thinking, if we're around the bottom, none of them they're not going to stay here, are they?
Elliot's got a World Cup to aim for next year. Morgan has. The 14 or 15 of ours regularly go out on international duty, right? And they've got a lot at stake. James McAtee's got a lot at stake. Amari Hutchinson's got a lot at stake. They all have. Yeah. Igor Jesus just broken into the Brazil squad and played some game time for Brazil. So this is why
we've got a notification. Is this
Lord Frey of West Bridgeford? We need to find somebody to bring it all together, make them all feel like they belong, give them a good laugh, get them laughing, get them to enjoy themselves.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Something to bring back the
fans and galvanise the fans. The fans need to be galvanised.
On Twitter, you see, it's. I don't know if you can see it's Mr. Bean in a forest in a forest jacket. That makes us all giggle. I've just seen that on Twitter. Sorry, I've got to share.
I thought you were going to say something serious, and I got a Sky notification thinking, "Oh my God."
No. Forest having a point.
Yeah, I mean, people was asking me who you want. I don't know. I don't think it's that clear cut. It's whoever interviews, whoever they think is going to do the basics at Forest at the moment, and they're going to quiet all this rubbish down, because at the moment there's too much noise.
Absolutely,
too much noise with Postecoglou, and he just. I couldn't watch his interviews when he was being interviewed for Tottenham, and it's like, is that really what we need? And then he comes, and it's exactly the same, and you can see them that they can't wait for him to fail, and all this noise, and then he goes on a rant for 5 minutes about Tottenham past victories, trophies, and Harry Kane, and I'm like, what? Yeah, good on him for like speaking up, but that's not what we need. We don't need that at the moment. We need him to galvanise the fans and this team, and he hasn't, and this club, and he hasn't done that. And I feel that's why he's gone more for what he's done on the pitch, because he's not been able to show in any place where we can build or support him. And that's what's important to us. We've got to find somebody that's going to galvanise us and get rid of this noise.
The noise is too much.
And I think Mancini's going to bring more noise with him, isn't he?
Well, the thing is,
it's been years since he's managed in the Premier League.
2017 since he's been in the Premier League. But he's ex-Man City. He's been out and he's going to come back. He's probably quite fiery. He comes across as quite fiery. I think his playing career is quite fiery. Is he going to be the right one? I don't know. Like you said, like is it Luke earlier or one of the
someone calm and level-headed? That's what we need.
That's how you feel. That's what it feels like. But then Villa didn't go for that, did they? Like the comment said, and I hadn't thought about it like that. But we're almost following Villa, aren't we? They went for Gerrard from Rangers, did really well in Scotland. I know he didn't go somewhere else first, and then came to Villa and didn't do very well. And we're almost following that pattern. So this next appointment is really important. And I don't know who it should be. I don't know. Vital. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, no, it's vital.
I think as a club, we need to stop being so cocky.
Yeah, we do.
We are motivated. Everybody who plays against us wants to knock us over. We've created feuds with people. Get out the road. Be quiet. I want nobody to have any dirt on Nottingham Forest. I want us to be elusive. I don't want anybody to use anything against us. Last year, we started that season under the radar. We did something that nobody expected us to do. Have the ball, we're not bothered, and we'll hit you on the counter. Right. And it took a copycat league months on end to figure it out. It was brilliant while it lasted. And it was all because we kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody expected it. Nottingham Forest doing this, winning at Anfield.
They'll get caught out, and we didn't for ages.
And everybody underestimated. This time, I think we've been overestimated, and I think we as a club ourselves have overestimated ourselves. It's time for feet back on the ground, and it's time for let the noise be about somebody else. I do think we'll go on a good run at some point, because all bad runs end, and the good runs of the likes of Sunderland and Leeds, and Burnley, and Brentford, and all this kind of stuff will come to an end. I mean, the thing is, West Ham beat Brentford tomorrow night. We're second bottom, so I'm
not even looking at the table at the moment.
So the thing is, we get written off at that point, and I'd rather be written off than hyped up. Hype is dangerous, and I think we've overhyped ourselves. I don't. I think what I would say is, whoever the new guy is, and I'm like, I'll take whatever comes, because I'm Forest, and I just love this club. I love everything about it, and that will never stop. My love hasn't been affected by what's been happening recently. I love them as much now. In fact, I love them more when things are going bad, because I think they need me more as a supporter. I sometimes think with our fans, it's like they expect the team to support them. Give me my goal. Give me my win. No, we have to help them to get it. It has to come from us. But whoever it needs to be, it needs to be done quickly. It needs to be done before we play a bloody good side who haven't lost yet on Thursday night.
I'm quite excited for Thursday, though. Now I'm actually looking forward to go again. I'm being serious. I get it, and I kind of had that rant maybe at the start of the podcast about not feeling connected with the club. But there was one simple change that could make it slightly better. And I know people go, "Oh, it's only 8 games," and not on Postecoglou, and feel for him. But I just wasn't. I listened to his press conference. I wasn't fired up. I wasn't fired up to talk about him on the podcast. I wasn't fired up to go to the game and spend £60 on a Porto ticket. I am now. And people will go, well, that's fickle, Max. Well, it isn't, because the manager at the end of the day makes me want to support the team as well. Steve Cooper got me wanting to run through brick walls for Forest. Nuno got me wanting to run through brick walls. And we even go as far back, and people will laugh at Billy Davis, people like that, managers like that, Philip Montagnier didn't do a bad job. Dougie Friedman during a difficult period. Steve Cottrell keeping us up when we had all the crap with Fawaz and all of that, and the crossover there. Do you know what I mean? So I sometimes feel like get a good manager in place. Get someone that connects with the fan base, which they can easily do in the next few days. And maybe Deitch is that person. I think the City Ground atmosphere will be special on Thursday night. I do think it will turn around. I think everyone will be excited now, and I think we've all got to get behind the team and really kind of.
Only one way to connect. Win.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Because as that famous philosopher Steve Archibald said, team spirit, an illusion glimpsed in victory. Win. If we'd won these last few games playing shocking football and won 1-0, how different it would be. Just win. Just find a way to win, whoever you are.
I think if we'd have beat Sunderland and beat Midtjylland, I don't think he would have lost his job yesterday.
Callum Hudson-Odoi scores instead of hitting the post in Betis. Those chances that we missed against Betis. If we'd have come out of Spain having won there,
I know. We should have, shouldn't we?
We should have. Well, you stood behind me ducking the car too, weren't you? With Mick, right?
I feel sorry for you, Sarah.
The only thing was she kept.
I was sorry for him because I was like.
Mick was stood there like an Easter Island statue, bless him. And she was like so excited. She kept beating me on the shoulders and like, Sarah, get off.
He's like so chilled and like so like quiet, and then it's me just going absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, Mick. I looked round at Mick, and Mick was like, hey, I'm right, enjoy this. And Sarah was like, come on, Forest. And I was like trying to keep my glasses on, and it's a bit like the bloke in the Trent end yesterday. He kept jumping up. He kept whacking me on the headlight. I had my cap on, and he kept whacking me on the end. I'm like, you're right there, mate. You know what I mean? But all I would say is when it went from 1-0 in Seville, because it's Betis of Seville, when it went from 1-0 to 2-1 to Forest, I got a really lovely hug right, from the lady behind. She was like, "Tell you what, she needs to squeeze the juice out of me, though, didn't you?" You know what I mean? She was like, "Get off, Sarah, will you?" And Mick stood there going, "Help yourself, Dave. I'm ready."
He's been trying to get rid of me for 30 years.
I said, "What you doing on Sunday morning now?"
How much to take her off your hands, Mick? Mick went,
"You can have her."
a tenner and some nectar points, Dave. Go on, mate.
Some club card points from Tesco. You're in there, Dave. Yeah.
Hiya, Mick. Good old Mick. Love Mick to bits.
Shout out to Mick. Ryan Yates' biggest
Put
fan.
Mick in charge. Mick ought to manage for us. He'd be brilliant. Mick and Sarah, the dream ticket. That's who it is to me.
Well, at least
I feel sorry for the.
I feel sorry for the estate agent that's having to sell Ange Postecoglou's new flat at the Riverside apartment.
They put it on already, didn't they? Somebody put it on Twitter last night. Nice apartment, only 2 sleeps in it.
I might go and rent it out for a bit.
Absolutely,
we could do podcasts from next to the city.
But also, I was just thinking this week as well. We've had all this about extending the city ground as well. It all really feels like, I didn't even want to read it. It was like 50,000. You'll be lucky to get 17,000 again. And then came up on my memories of me sat there with 17,000 on a Fawaz night watching. Don't know.
Was it Charlton or something?
And I've got all the seats around me and I've got my legs up.
It's like extra leg room. You don't get that at the city ground anymore.
No.
You have to pay extra. You have to pay extra and go in those stupid containers.
And just on all of that, yesterday was the biggest attendance in the city ground since we came up.
I don't know if I believe that. So I don't know if I believe that. I can't lie.
It wasn't at the end, but it was at the start. So yeah,
you've got a lot of the hospitality though will have been taken up by a lot of Chelsea fans, won't it?
Yeah, but credit to the Forest fans. They thick and thin. They get moany every now and then, but they're a great bunch. And
the best bit, Dave, yesterday, and I don't know if you saw it, was I looked over to my left of the Trent end, and this bloke was getting carried out by stewards in a headlock, and I was like, that
was near to where that I at half
Chelsea
time.
Fan?
No, it was a Forest fan. What happened was I went to see some people who sit right in the corner, and we just got talking about the game, and then actually there'd been a bit about 20-25 minutes into the first half where everybody in the Trent end got up and looked to the right. I sat there being a miserable old git going, excuse me, the game's over here, not over there. So there was a load of people standing up. There was a group of stewards, apparently, and a guy right in that corner of the Trent end was being a little bit over the top with things he was saying. And I think he'd had a few ales, right, which... Had he been drinking from 6 a.m. or something? Because it was a 12:30 kickoff. He was absolutely, poo-faced by that time. And the steward stood and they said to him, if you don't stop, you're going out. At which point this thoroughly intelligent gentleman hit an old guy behind him. At which point the stewards piled in and lifted him out of the city ground, probably for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Right. So that was what was going on. And I'm thinking,
at least you didn't have to watch that second half.
Somebody said to him, "Why have you hit the old bloke behind?" He said, "Well, Chelsea are going to score in the 46th minute. I'm not watching that." You know what I mean? Apparently, he said to him, "Why have you hit that old bloke behind?" He said, "Well, if I go now, I can get home in time to watch the racing from Ascot." You know what I mean?
It was awful though, wasn't it? Because at half time, all of us were going, "Really good, played really well." And I went, "Yeah, but the problem is he can only do one good half." And then literally 1 minute later they score, and I was like, "Oh no!"
And that was a very, very bad goal to give away because young Achimpong was completely. I mean, the thing is, this is where Ange can only do so much. I was looking like Nicola, Marato. Where are you? What are you doing? So, again,
and then that second one though, where they were lining it up, and I turned to Mick and went, "This is going in, isn't it?" And he was why is this happening? Because last year we were so good on set pieces. Oh God, sorry, Max, we've totally annihilated your podcast because we've gone from one thing to another, haven't we? There's no structure whatsoever. We're just like 3 fans ranting, aren't we, about what's going on?
We're like Forest against Midtjylland. It's just chaotic.
On that note,
Yeah.
On that bombshell.
Yeah.
on that note,
Who's looking forward to Thursday? Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It's Forest, isn't it? What can you imagine a life with no Forest? It wouldn't be the same. I love it. I love them. You know,
Yeah.
I got asked out in Spain. Somebody stuck a microphone in my face. It mashed in my eye to start and said, "What does it mean?" And I said, you know, from a personal point of view, after 2, tough years for me and my family, without Forest, I don't know what I'd have done. You know, so you ride the troughs, you ride the peaks, and on we go. I was getting in my car after the game, and I saw a load of folks walking through County Hall to go back to their car. A group of people, and I kind of opened my door and went, "He's gone." This lady went, "Yeah, on to the next one." And I just thought that just summed it up brilliantly.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Well,
In fact,
I'm gonna have to go. So I'm supposed to be looking after my grandson, and my friend's coming at 11.
we've kept you too long.
I'm going to be slated by my daughters totally.
Don't worry,
so.
Sarah. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We're gonna end it there. We'll be back tomorrow or Tuesday, or basically whenever the next manager's announced. Then we've got a Bournemouth episode. So we'll see you then. But thanks for all the comments live. We've had a lot of people, around 162 people watching us live in total on Facebook, Nottingham Forest News and YouTube, Gary Red, and that's good on a Sunday morning. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, whatever you're doing. Sarah, enjoy looking after the grandkids. Dave, enjoy going to, I don't know, Waitrose, Tesco, wherever you'll venture out into.
I'm going to do a workout, and then I'm going to watch, I think, Celtic and Dundee, Tottenham Villa, Liverpool United, and then whatever is on the NFL tonight, mate. You know, so hey, it's been a good session. We've all got it off our chests.
Absolutely,
we have. You know what I mean?
We have.
We've given Mick a big up as well, haven't we?
Haven't we? I've just texted him, but
free bloody publicity. Free publicity. Right, go and look after the grandkids, Sarah. We'll see you soon. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us across Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we shall see you all in a bit. Take care. Thanks. You Red.